Good afternoon to YouTube. Hope everybody's having a good day. Just wanted to come in and talk about a few things. Uh, there's a lot going on right now, and a lot of people are looking for answers. Some people haven't quite awakened yet to the reality of the things that are going on around us. And I was just thinking about the other morning how God woke me up and He woke me up to a song, and this song is a song by Bishop Paul Morton, "Cry Your Last Cry." And I haven't been listening to much music at all, any music hardly, just mostly scripture. But he gave me this song when I opened my eyes from being asleep. Cry Your Last Cry. And I've been praying about a lot of things because there's so much going on that people don't even realize. And, you know, people are so caught up in their um, daily lives that they don't even realize, all the signs around us. For example, we've had uh, around 300 earthquakes in the past 7 days. We have volcanoes going off everywhere. Um, we have droughts in Africa. We have droughts in the United States. We have wildfires in the United States. We have wildfires all over the world. We have flooding um, in other parts of America. We have flooding overseas in various countries. And, you know, people are just not paying attention to what's going on. People are continuing to go on about their daily lives as if nothing is happening. And I really don't understand it. Um, and to make things worse, we even have a outbreak of grasshoppers in the western part of America. So not only are we losing crops to the drought, no water, but we're losing crops to grasshoppers, a mass outbreak of grasshoppers. And you'll be fooling yourself if you didn't think that this was part of judgment from God, that He's sending these things to get our attention. His return is imminent, and people need to pay attention. Some other signs that we've seen. We see where Lake Powell, which is located in Arizona, is at 32% capacity. We've seen in northern Mexico, cattle has dropped from 1.1 million to 635,000 due to a massive drought. We see crops in Mississippi that have been lost due to flooding. And then when you look at the animals, we see where 400 sheep committed suicide by jumping off the mountain in Turkey. They just all jumped off the mountain. And then we saw recently in the country of Georgia where 550 sheep were killed due to lightning. So, earthquakes and all these various things going on, and everybody just continues to go about their daily lives as if nothing is happening. Old saying, whistling past the graveyard, is something that people used to say, when you want to turn a blind eye to something. We see the collapse of Afghanistan, we see the collapse of Haiti, who lost their president and then had the massive earthquake. 6.9 earthquake in Alaska, 7.0 in Haiti, 5.6 in Argentina, 5.0 in Indonesia. And it just goes on and on. I mean, there's no break. It's every day. And then when you look at the animals, We see where on July 15th, there was thousands of dead flamingos found in a lake in Turkey, all found dead. Thousands of tons of dead fish washed up on the beach in Mexico. Uh, 600 tons of dead fish washed up on the beach in Tampa Bay, Florida. 1 billion sea creatures died during a heat wave in British Columbia. Hundreds of birds dying with no explanation in South and Midwest America. 50,000 fish dead in a creek in Missouri. 500 plus cattle dead from a hailstorm in Pakistan. A hailstorm. 500 plus cattle dead from a hailstorm in Pakistan. Thousands of dead fish and marine life wash up on Gold Coast in Australia. And this list it just goes on and on. It's endless. But, everybody, is going on about their lives. And some people, I've been contacted by some people who feel a lot of pressure in the inside. They tell me, hey, I feel like I'm about to have a mental breakdown. But on the outside, they're living their life and they're putting on this persona that everything's okay. But they know everything is not okay. And so they're right there on the verge of giving their life over to God, but they just won't do it. And right now we're at a time, it's 11:59. So we're at a time where you can't afford to hesitate. You can't afford to fret and not go ahead and make that step. God is calling us because the rapture, we're on the verge of the rapture. I'm telling you, we're on the verge. And people, they won't pull the trigger. It's time for us to turn our life over to God because we can't do this alone. There's things coming that we can't handle alone. Job is not going to help us. House is not going to help us. There's things coming that we're going to need God to help us with. We can't do it alone. And so people have this feeling that, hey, I got to be perfect to go to God. I got some things I got to clean up to go to God. No, he's already seen it all. He already knows about everything. Let me tell you something. You name it, I've done it just about. But prior to 2010, I had my hands in some everything. And God gave me a new chance on life. But I was honest. I came to God and I told him who I really was. I told him about the things that I was addicted to. I told him about my life. I told him all the sins I was doing. You got to be honest with God. He already know. You got to be honest with him. You can't do it alone. You got to have his help. And you got to, we have this thing where we worry about family or we worry about friends. Hey, what will my family think if I turn my life over to God? What will my friends think if I turn my life over to God? You got to quit worrying about that. We're in the last hour. It's 11:59. So it's time out now to worry about, what your friends are going to think or what family's going to think. People are turning on each other every day. So it's time out for that. And quit thinking that things are going to go back to normal because they're not. It's not going to go back to normal. It's not going to go back to normal. It is going to get worse and worse and worse. Things are not going to go back to normal. They're just not. You know, everybody a few months ago, everybody thought, hey, everything's getting back to normal. People started going back to ball games. People started packing the stadiums again for the baseball games. And look what happened. It's back. And so now people are mad because they got the jab and now they got to wear a mask again, you know. And that was one of the reasons why some people got it, because they felt, hey, I'm just tired of wearing the mask. But look, it's not back, it's not normal again. You're going back to where we were when we started. Quit thinking that everything is going, you just want your life to go back to normal, because that's just not going to happen. If you're dependent on appearance, if you're dependent on house, cars, job, possessions, those things are going away. Those things will be taken at some point. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but at some point, those things are going to be taken. You've got to follow the gospel of Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 1 through 4. You got to embrace that. You have to believe that Jesus is who he say he is. It's that simple. You got to have faith and believe that he's who he say he is, because there's no one else that can save you. I've had visions about World War III. I've had visions about a giant tsunami coming to the East Coast. I've had visions about earthquakes. It's coming. I've had visions about the meteor that's going to hit in the Atlantic. It's coming. It's nothing you can do about it. I don't care how much they tell you, hey, we can shoot it and we can detour, we can knock it off its course or whatever. I don't care what they tell you. They cannot stop these things. The only one that can save you is Jesus. That's it. And then the other day, speaking of signs, we had lightning hit the Washington Monument. Lightning hit the Washington Monument. And we have China building up military outside of Taiwan. Meanwhile, Afghanistan has collapsed. You don't need a prophet to tell you what's going on. You can look around and see it. Quit trusting the regular news and go to alternative news and find out the truth. One last point, if you have ever heard of birth pains, then you know what I'm talking about. Birth pains is when a woman goes into labor and she gets ready to give birth to her child. The closer that it gets to that child being delivered, the more intense the pains and the closer the pains get together, okay? So as she gets closer to that, the more intense and the worse it gets in the pains. And we're seeing the same thing with Jesus. The closer it gets to his return, the more intense the devastations are going to be around us. You're going to see more earthquakes. You're going to see more volcanoes going off. You're going to see more devastations around the world. It's going to continue to get worse. So the same way with Jesus' return, you're going to see the same thing as it is with a woman giving birth. Things are going to get worse. And I know it sounds crazy, but the closer it gets to his return, the worse things are going to get. And then when it comes time for the birth of Christ, for Christ's return, in the midst of trouble, he's going to snatch us out of here. Now, here's one thing. I'm not saying, I'm a pre-trib believer, but I'm not saying the church is not going to go through anything, because people are dying all over the world right now. You look in Canada, they're locking pastors and preachers up in Canada. They've locked Canada down. You can't even go across the border unless you receive the jab. The mark of the beast is around the corner. I just saw where Moderna and the Pentagon is working on a chip that will be injected in your hand, and it would let you know if you have COVID in your bloodstream, or if it'll let you know if you have that in your bloodstream. So that's going to be the mark of the beast. This was just a prelude to it. The mark of the beast is coming. They're working on it right now. And at some point, people will be required to go get it. So are you going to stay here and deal with that? Or are you going to let Jesus take care of you and go back with him? You got to decide. Jesus is coming soon. He told me he was. So you got to make up your mind where you stand. 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4, or Romans 10, 9 and 10. God bless you. God keep you. Till next time.